So for the side gears, I started off by pressing down some modeling clay onto a tray in the desired shape. So with the help of my sculpting tools, I started to sculpt out some details right from the center. With the help of a reference picture, I started to press down the clay with this tool, as you can see, to get the shape and details as close as possible. Sculpting the details starting from the center and working all the way out worked for me, as we can build layer after layer, and I also used a round plate to get the desired size and shape as I wanted. I'm using different tools on the outermost layer as well to create some texture. Once the sculpting process was done, I built a small clay wall around the tray, and the next step is to get a mold of the same. So for that, I mixed up some plaster of Paris with water and I started pouring it over the clay. The first layer of plaster is very important, so I'm spreading it carefully, clearing up air bubbles and pushing it into every space of the clay so that our prosthetic can also have the exact same details. I let it sit for more than 24 hours, and the next day I wanted to remove the mold from the clay. Started clearing out the clay walls, turned it upside down and patting it down with all that might. I kind of managed to get that mold out of the tray. And before that, I also greased some Vaseline over the tray before I poured the plaster so that it can actually make this entire releasing process less stressful for me. You can also use cooking oil or any releasing agent that you have. So after clearing out all the clay remains from the mold, my plaster mold was still not completely dry. And there were some details missing out here and there, so I went back to carve out these details with my sculpting tools yet again. And I also realized at this point, carving out these details on the mold when it is still damp was much easier than doing it after it's completely dry. So that's a quick tip for you. So now for the prosthetic, I'm using liquid latex. I went back and greased the entire mold with Vaseline once again and pouring some liquid latex onto it and dabbing it with all that patience, because the first layer is quite important. So waited for the first one to dry and I started dabbing layer after layer. I think I did almost 10 to 15 layers of latex on the mold because this prosthetic was quite big, so I wanted it as one sturdy piece. So next day I waited for this to completely dry up and I just powdered it with some baby powder and started removing it from the mold. All I wanted was just this latex prosthetic to come out of the mold as one single piece. So I had to powder it left, right and center and carefully remove it. And finally I just got what I needed. So then I made another piece just like the previous one and I started shading them with all the NYX professional makeup products that I had. As you know, this is for Face Awards India, so I kind of wanted to use the same products that I use for my face makeup as well. So as you see, the first layer was just all the cream products like the SFX set body paints and the full throttle shadow sticks and the jumbo pencil. And then the next layer was setting it with the shadows, eyeshadows from Full Throttle palette and the Ultimate Brights palette and things like that. And the next step was to just set the entire thing with the SFX set loose setting powder. And I also added some paper spikes, so I had to contrast both the side gears with different shades. So now for the centerpiece, this was completely done with tin foil and masking tape. I first made a base, just crushed the tin foil into a lengthy piece and just checked the height and length I wanted and just stuck the entire piece with some tape. So then I also crushed the tin foil into some smaller pieces and I just attached them onto the base with some glue, and I just wanted this to look something very close to what the Natalia head looks like, but that's a complete prosthetic piece, but I just tried to make something out of whatever materials that we could find. So then I covered this entire piece with some tissue paper and liquid latex. I started off with a latex sponge initially, but then I found my fingers were much easier to work with, and it is a messy job. I'm sure your place and your fingers, everything's gonna get messy, but I'm sure the end result is definitely worth all this. And then I start shading this again with my SFX set body paints and some more colors from the palettes. So centerpiece was done. I also crushed some tin foil as bases for the side gears. I stuffed some cotton into the latex prosthetic and I just attached everything to the centerpiece with some masking tape. So now for the ball cap that I used in this video, this was also self-made. I just blew up a balloon as big as the size of my head, greased it with Vaseline and dabbed almost 5 to 7 layers of liquid latex, waited for each layer to dry, and just bursted the balloon, and I just got my ball cap out of it by just powdering it down. Some people don't believe in bursting the balloon, but rather powdering it and removing the ball cap slowly from the balloon. But for me, this just worked. I think if you grease your balloon really well with Vaseline and just bursting it makes it way more easier, and I think it's fun. Okay, so here is some additional info. I also made some shoulder spike pieces for the alien character. I just sculpted the clay the same way that I did for my headgears and just took a mold of it, did a latex prosthetic. So I just wanted to add all these efforts into this video as I had all these footages. So yeah, so here it is. So this was the character I created, and if you would like to see the makeup tutorial of this, it's right there on my channel. I'll also link it down here. Thanks for watching.